And welcome to the Milo Beasley Show, episode number 102. Still hanging out in the triple digits. This week, my guest, Alan Johnson, the executive director of Orlando Venues?
That's correct. Thank you, Milo.
That's a mouthful.
It is.
You have to say that every time you introduce yourself at a speech or something?
I just say I'm in the experience business. That's my elevator speech.
So we're hanging out, and I wanted to talk to you. A lot of my fans, a lot of my viewers are wrestling fans. Cool. And just a couple weeks ago, it was announced that WrestleMania will be coming to Orlando next year.
Very excited about it. Returning to the Orlando Citrus Bowl, now Camping World Stadium, but we're excited about returning. I think it's the first time they return to the same stadium.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So the last time they were here was WrestleMania 24.
Oh, wait.
And now returning to the Citrus Bowl, Camping World Stadium. It seemed rather, obviously, from a viewpoint, from the outsider's viewpoint, it seemed rather sudden, like it just came about. Usually we hear about these things, this city is in the bidding, this city is in the bidding, this city is in the bidding. And like Orlando, I don't really remember being like in those, with Dallas and San Francisco, like those ones who held it in the past. How quickly did this come about, or has it been in the works for a while?
So we were asked to prepare bids for multiple years, 17, 18, 19, I believe, and then we submitted a bid, fancy, proposal. It was well received, but we didn't hear anything for a while. In fact, the word we got is that it looked like it wasn't going to work out because they were trying to rotate between the east, central, and the western coast of the U.S. and maybe even international one day. So we kind of got the impression we were going to get it, and then all of a sudden we got a call, and my boss, the Mayor Dyer for the city of Orlando, and one of my co-workers, I was unable to go, jumped on a plane and went up to Connecticut and met with the WWE folks, and had a great meeting with all of them, the higher ups. And Mayor Dyer does that. He did it in 07 to get 08 for us, so I think he sealed the deal when he went up there, and then all of a sudden it heated up. I thought it was going to Minneapolis. I heard there's other stories they're out there to build a new stadium. The guy that used to work for WWE is now the booking guy in Minneapolis. So we were worried that it was not going to come, and things happened very quickly. Right,
because Vince McMahon has a tendency to want to run those big stadiums before any other big events, like the opening of the San Francisco Stadium, he was there. Opening of Dallas before Dallas could, host a Super Bowl, he wanted to jump in there. And so Minneapolis seemed like that might have been the next big thing, they're building that stadium, but now coming to Orlando. And let's talk about this Camping World Stadium. Like that came out pretty quick and sudden as well. Like this is the first time that the stadium has had a title sponsor, right?
Well, the Citrus in the 90s paid for the Citrus Bowl, for the Florida Citrus name. In fact, that's why it's called Florida Citrus Bowl. Was the Citrus Association out of Lakeland, statewide organization, paid for the rights. That ended in 2002, so we just kept the name. We did. It was known as that, and then in 14 we actually changed it to the Orlando Citrus Bowl. Dropped Florida. Orlando's got one of the best known brands internationally, so we decided to take advantage of that, just like Visit Orlando did. The other thing is we just spent $207 million, actually about $210, renovating the stadium.
Yeah, the stadium looks great.
It's reconstruction, actually. We stopped calling it renovation when about 95% of the work you're doing is demolition, new construction. It's no longer just a remodeling job, and we've had great results. We had the Stones there last year. We got Guns N' Roses coming up there, plus our own Orlando City Soccer MLS team and Orlando Pride make that their home this year.
So what you're saying is from 2002 to 2014, I could have had the Milo Beasley Show Stadium.
You sure could have.
Is there anything else I could? Can I buy a parking spot? One of the toilets on the south end zone?
We'll name something after you if you have the right amount of money.
Oh, that's not happening. So yeah, let's talk about. So we have Guns N' Roses coming. That's a pretty big deal.
Yes. Last year we were lucky to get the Rolling Stones, the only Southeast state outside of Atlanta, the only date in Florida, which was quite a coup. And then this year is the Guns N' Roses reunion tour, I like to call it, because everyone's first time they've all been back together.
Right. So that's actually a pretty cool deal. Are you planning on going? You're going to be out there?
Absolutely. It's we're over 30,000 tickets sold. It's going to be a big event. Just happy to host those kind of events. We got Copa America coming up. It's again one of the only 14 sites in the U.S., which is huge. 3 games on June 4, 6, and 8. a lot of things happening out there. Since we put that money back in 2014 into the stadium, it made it more appealing for all kinds of, there's not an event we can't host in there.
Right, yeah, I mean, like you said, you have Orlando City Lions here, Orlando Pride. They put 24,000 people in for the Orlando Pride game.
Well,
I mean, pardon the pun, but that's got to fill you with pride, right?
Sure. I mean, the one project about, and I worked on the Amway Center, it's a beautiful building as well, but we had a little more money and we had a little more time because we had the other arena open. We basically closed down on January 29th, right after Monster Trucks of 2014, and we opened up on November 22nd of 2014 with the Florida Classic, a 10-month construction period, virtually unheard of in the business. It's actually being studied by different groups on how we were able to do that much work in that amount of time.
And then you added a bowl game with the the Auto Nation Cure Bowl, which I actually went to.
It was a good game.
I'm a big football fan, so I've attended quite a few games in the stadium. It's both old pre-reconstruction and post-reconstruction, and I gotta say the stadium is beautiful. But on those bowl games, you need more than one hot chocolate stand. We'll say it's rather cold there in the January. Like it's Florida, but it gets cold there. You need to keep your fingers and your body warm.
Usually we worry about more cold beer and make a little more money off that. But this year you're correct. We needed the hot chocolate stands, especially on Monster Truck Night, which was probably one of the cooler nights we had this past winter. And I just walked around the corner expecting to see it. And it's not a big beer event. People don't understand Monster Truck. It's actually a great family event. I'm not saying that people don't drink there, but it's really a well put together show. It's owned by Feld Entertainment, which owns Ringling Brothers Brown Bay Circus, as well as the Disney on Ice shows and a bunch of other shows. But it's really a family event, and that night we needed a little more coffee.
Right. They have a family section as well for that.
Correct.
But speaking of football, any chance you can delve into rumors about Orlando trying to put a bid in on the NFL Pro Bowl?
I don't think it's a rumor. We actually have had discussions with the NFL about bringing the Pro Bowl game here for not just 1 year, but for 3 years. They have had some concerns about going to Hawaii, and not that Hawaii is a beautiful place, but I think this is, I don't want to sound negative, but our stadium versus theirs right now is leaps and bounds. We're better, even though I think Hawaii is a great destination, but so is Orlando. It's the #1 tourist brand in the country, and one of the #1 in the world. So we have the best airports, we have the best hotels, we have the best attractions. Now we have one of the best arenas, best stadiums, and best performing arts centers to complement those.
Yeah, so I mean, there's what's not to like about Orlando, and hopefully you can bring in an event like the Pro Bowl, help bring some revenue to the city. I mean, these things like an event like WrestleMania, just everybody has to be happy about an event like that.
Well, I was here in 2008 and worked the one in 2008, and what surprised me the most was the international flavor of the consumer that came from everywhere. And in fact, one of the things that surprised us a little bit is that how many people took taxis from the hotel. Most people in Orlando don't take taxis. Now they might do Uber now or Lyft or whatever. But back then it was very unusual to have that customer. We went out to Dallas to do a site inspection because we were having it next year, and the international visitors there were just from everywhere, 30 countries, all 50 states, walking around downtown Dallas. It's just a very festive, a big event. And not everybody had a ticket. I think they had 102,000 or whatever at AT&T, which is bigger than us. But they said there was probably about 300,000 people who didn't have tickets, just came for the other wrestling events, the NXT, the Monday Night Raw, the fan experience.
Right, yeah. Some good friends of mine run an event. They run a company called WWN Live. And they had an event called More Than Mania,
right?
Where they packed in thousands of wrestling fans, the week prior to, those days leading up, and the day of WrestleMania. So it's a good experience, I think, all around. And I get to see my good friend Masahori from Japan.
Right.
I get to see him next year. I'm super excited. I haven't seen him since I traveled to Japan a couple of years back. But the Camping World Stadium isn't the only gig in town, as you said. There's some pretty cool things going on here where we are at right now at the Amway Center.
Correct. So the events, we have the Hall of Fame event here. The Convention Center is going to hold the Fan Fest, and so we'll have several events that go along with that. We've also WrestleMania is a Super Bowl.
Right.
It's a Super Bowl of wrestling, right? So you're going to count on that.
Some people might say the Super Bowl is the WrestleMania of football.
That's there's always the flip side of the coin. I agree. The more people actually probably go to WrestleMania than go to the Super Bowl that don't have tickets. So the experience is it's a wrestling celebration week. So the people come, they stay a lot longer. Super Bowl, you'll get 1 or 2 days, maybe 3 days. This is a whole week event, and we're excited about having that. Plus, when we have the wrestlers in town, pick up other events in here, the Hall of Fame inauguration, which is great. We had that. We saw that last year. We had it before in the arena, and of course Monday Night Raw. Whatever else.
Right.
Just they're here in town. Might as well have another.
And of course, the Magic improving year by year.
Mm-hmm.
Guys like Victor.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Aaron Gordon had standout year.
Yes.
So that team keeps getting better and better, and hopefully next year, maybe some free agency, maybe through draft picks. It could be could be a playoff team.
So we had 10 more wins than last year. So we had 35 wins this year. Not enough to make the playoffs. We got close, but a much more improved team. And what's more exciting about the Magic for our end is that they rarely had a night than less than 14,000 people in the building. So even though we maybe were not where we want to be yet on the court, we still have the fans that come here. It's a great experience. People love coming to this venue. It's easy to get in and out. And the fan experience, once they get in the building, there's something for everyone. Even the person who buys a $5 ticket upstairs or the $500 ticket, courtside.
And I think a big attribute, a big reason is stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody loves stuff.
Sure, exactly.
And speaking of stuff, he's bringing some of his mascot friends to this building June 17th and 18th for Mascot Games.
Great. And
presented by Wawa.
Yeah.
I think it's it's a charity that's near and dear to my heart. New Hope for Kids, helping grieving children and children with life-threatening illnesses. So it's a big 2-day event, bringing mascots from all over the country. Do you get a chance to ever to go to Mascot Game?
Yeah, usually, and I get to watch it. We usually have two open days, Friday and Saturday, and it's great. It's fun to see the different, like you said, mascots, and all kinds of different configurations and sizes from wherever the team is. But they compete in competition. It's friendly competition, and it's a lot more fun. It's a very low key event. What I mean low key is like it kind of sneaks up on you, but it's entertaining. It's entertainment.
You haven't seen you have not been entertained. You have not experienced life until you see another mascot hit another mascot with a pugil stick.
Yeah,
right.
You just can't beat that.
Or riding a tricycle.
Correct.
So that's coming up June 17th and 18th here. One thing we like to do on the Milo Beasley Show is we like to do a top 5. It's a random question. Top 5. This is going to be different. This is going to be a different type of configuration of the question. Top 5. If you could make a dream Orlando Magic starting 5, what would that starting 5 look like?
Alive or dead?
Past or present?
Oh gosh. I certainly am a big Vic fan. I think he's got a lot of potential. I would keep him on there. You can't discount LeBron or Steph Curry and Kobe in his day. Is that 5 yet? I don't know.
Almost.
I guess they need a better center. I guess Shaq.
Bring Shaq back.
Exactly. He was fun to watch in his day.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think if you're gonna bring Shaq, you gotta bring Penny, right?
There you go. Yeah.
I actually spent some time and sat down and watched that with the
30 on 30.
30 for 30 on them, and man, that was
interesting. Brought back memories.
It was very interesting, and I had to turn it off before they lost to the Rockets because I didn't want to relive that.
Yeah. So
I had to kind of turn that off.
Same with me in 09. I got to go to one game, but I was running the arena in 09 when we were in the finals of the Lakers, and the away game is the one that disappointed me the most, where we had that inbound and Courtney Lee, if he'd have made that layup, that would have been tied 1-1, and that would have been a different series than it was.
Yeah.
I think it kind of took a little wind out when we missed that, but he's a great player, and I think anything from him, but that was a lot of fun. You work an NBA All-Star game, the finals, the bowl games obviously have the atmosphere. Those are just in my business. Those are the top events you want to work.
Yeah, definitely, and maybe over the next couple of years, maybe we can bring some of those more all-star games back to Orlando. We certainly got the facilities. Hopefully, the NFL decides Orlando is the place to be, because I certainly think so.
Thank you. I will mention that to the commissioner.
Like Milo Beasley approved.
Exactly.
Before we go, would you like to say a few words, about Orlando, where to follow, the social medias for Orlando?
Well, I love my job. I have one of the best jobs in the world, experience business, and I do it in one of the best places. I mean, in my career, I could go anywhere probably to work, but why would I want to? And I go to other venues, and not to discount other venues, but we have a great performance tonight. I didn't mention, but the place, things here, there's just so much excitement and such a good positive vibe going on. It's unbelievable. I mean, there's construction going on. There's residents coming downtown, which is, you can go to other cities, even downtown Tampa, and it's just a ghost town after 5, 6 o'clock. Which, no offense to Tampa, but we have a vibrant downtown life. There's more people in downtown at midnight on Friday night than there are at noon on Friday.
Oh.
Think about that. I mean, had so many people, office workers, leave downtown,
right,
and new people come in, locals come in downtown. So we're definitely the playground. And if you haven't been to Orlando, I always challenge people to get away from the attractions for a day or so. There's so much more about Central Florida that people don't experience. Come downtown, go to Winter Park. Lou Gardens is also under my department. Manila Museum. We have great museums and just some other spaces that are not attractions. So
right,
make sure if you come to plan some time from WrestleMania to come downtown and visit some of the other things that we have to offer.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Alan,
Milo, my pleasure.
for joining.
Thank you.
And we will see you next week.
Yay, I'm entertaining.